Hi there. I'd like to thank you for your interest and welcome you to the Overstreet Kerr Historical Farm. I hope you enjoy your visit here today. The Overstreet Kerr Historical Farm was a winner of the 2004 Redbud Awards for Best Attraction and Best Website. Our annual Historical Fall Farm Fest was the Merit Award winner for Best Event. The farm also won the 1998 Redbud Award for Native Beauty. Redbud Awards are the highest honor given for tourism in Oklahoma. They're given annually by the Oklahoma Tourism Department and the Oklahoma Travel Industry Association. Before we begin, let's take a moment to read the farm mission. To provide a unique and educational farmstead which provides visitors of all ages and walks of life the opportunity to experience early 20th century farm culture and to promote the conservation of rare American breeds of livestock. Now, I'd like to tell you the story of how this farm came into being. In 1871, Tom Overstreet and his wife Margaret came to what was known as Indian Territory. They came from south-central Missouri near Springfield. Tom was a Missourian and Margaret was about 3/8 Choctaw Indian. Because of her ancestry, they had the same rights as any other Indian living in the area. The Overstreets could use all the land they could clear for farming, including a quarter-mile border surrounding their farm. They began clearing land and built their first home near the base of Short Mountain, just south of the Arkansas River, and just north of where the current house now stands. Their cabin was rustic but nice. It's no longer standing, but this is a painting of that first home. Tom commissioned an artist friend from Fort Smith to paint the picture and paid him in an unusual way. Tom was noted for raising quality livestock, cotton, and potatoes. So instead of paying cash for the painting, Tom traded his friend a wagon load of potatoes for the work. Tom and Margaret began a family and had 10 children. But due to the lack of medical care in those days, only 6 lived to adulthood. Among these 10 children, there were a remarkable number of multiple births. The first births were twin girls, but neither child survived. The last births were triplets, and 2 of the infants did not survive. Tragically, neither did Margaret. The rigors of bearing 10 children took a toll. She died in 1884 at the age of 35. Tom remarried 2 years later in 1886 to Elizabeth Krebs, who was 1/4 Choctaw. They had 6 children, but only 3 survived to adulthood. From his 2 marriages, Tom had 16 children. 9 of them lived to become adults. As the family grew, more room was needed. Tom started building the current home in 1890 and finished it 5 years later. He built his new home on land that he and his wife didn't have deed or title to. The government only provided for the right to use the land. So in 1902, Elizabeth applied for and received 160 acres, which included the land they were living on, as her rightful Indian allotment. Each of the 9 children also received 160 acres. Even though Tom wasn't Choctaw, he was counted on the Choctaw census and received 100 acres. All told, Tom and his family now owned 1,700 acres. Tom was a very hard worker, and he saved his earnings to buy more land. When Tom died in 1934, he had accumulated 5,000 acres of his own. The Overstreet property stretched as far as you could see. Today, only 125 acres of the historical farm remain. After Tom passed away, the farm eventually fell to Russell, the only son who had survived from Tom's second marriage and the rightful heir to his mother's allotment land. Russell was the last family resident of the home. He died in 1981 at the age of 85. He wrote in his will that his home was to be used as an educational facility, so that others like yourself could enjoy it as he had. But by this time, the house was 100 years old and in very poor condition. The family looked for several years for someone to take it over, but because of the condition of the house and the stipulations in the will, no interest was shown. Eventually, they gave up hope and decided to auction off the household furnishings.